I tell people I play golf, but I haven't played golf since I got back to the UAE.
What are you saying?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people say that I'm very brief in my emails or my communication because I don't write, I stick to the facts.
Wow.
I don't use too many words. I tend to be very factual. So, I'll answer the question that's asked and, not obviously not too scared to make a decision. At the moment, we're also playing a little cricket tournament with Alpha Tame. So, it's been a few years since I played cricket, but it's a good opportunity to obviously get out there with the team. They've delivered over 20 million hybrids, which is, if you think about it,
that's
a substantial number. It's important that people can look at you and see, okay, now I know how I should act or not act. I love the Land Cruiser, I love the Prado. I think if you're gonna pick one vehicle to do 1 million kilometers on, it should be a Toyota, that's for sure. I've always been an SUV guy. I like sitting above the traffic. Or design cars have got a lot of blind spots, and this vehicle definitely doesn't have it. So you can quite easily see what's going on around you.
I'm standing amidst absolute legacy. This is the new Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. But today, this is an episode of Mashable Mornings. I'm Siddharth Alambine, your host, who's going to talk to Jacques Brent, somebody who spent 30 years in the automotive industry across various parts of the globe and worked around many auto manufacturers. But I want to talk to him about his personal interests, about the legacy of the Prado, about the brand Toyota in the Middle East, because it's been just 1950s. That TikTok that you'll see where only building that existed on Sheikh Zayed was the Toyota, and many other things. Because I want to know what a leader like him thinks and what does he do in his free times and what are his hobbies like. Let's find out more about his story and the Toyota story as well as the Lexus story in the Middle East. Let's go.
Welcome to Mashable Mornings. How's it going?
Great, good to be here, Sid. Thanks for inviting me.
See, I'm wearing main character energy because we're driving around in the Prado.
I did notice it when you got here, actually. So
I think this vehicle has that aura, that feel, that really makes me go vibing. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those cars when you get in it, you just want to go out there and do something. So it's kind of go out there and conquer the road, conquer the bush, conquer the desert.
Yes, exactly. It has a legacy of its own, but we'll come to that. Tell me this: for the first time, we have a legacy brand's managing director. You're the managing director at Toyota and Lexus in the Middle East. What is your first car story?
Great question. Obviously, unfortunately, not the brand I work on now. So a bit of a story attached to that. But yeah, I mean, my very first car is something very unique. Not many people will know these products, but my first car that I had was a beach buggy, actually.
What are you saying?
Yes. And I grew up on a coastal area, and obviously that was what the vehicle was for.
Did you always know you were going to get into the automotive industry?
A bit of a long story. When I was at university, said I'm not going to join the motor industry. Look what happened. I actually joined Unilever as my first job. So I worked at Unilever for a couple of years.
What were you doing there?
I joined the grad trainee program, but basically in the finance side of the business. So I was a factory accountant looking after one of their large factories in South Africa.
Oh wow. You have that, and we will come to that. He has a multi-dimensional, multi-regional experience to his belt. But what did that teach you? What did that leave you with? Because that's a lot of consumer product focus.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great FMCG company, Unilever. They invest heavily in obviously, training their staff, and from a leadership development perspective, I learned a huge amount from working in that particular company. They gave, sort of at a relatively young age, they gave us, managerial positions. So you learned how to, work with a team and develop a team and grow a team. And then obviously the technical side of back then, which was finance, I learned obviously dealing with, with that particular business, which in that particular case was predominantly, cleaning products and mainly the washing product. As I said, I was still relatively young and kind of trying to understand what opportunities there were from a promotional perspective. And I was, pretty young compared to my peers. So I thought, maybe it's time to exit and go and see if there's a, different path to career growth. So I left and I joined, strange enough, I joined a group of bakeries. And I actually ended up being a general manager of a couple of bakeries. So I learned,
so cool.
I knew nothing, I'll be honest, about baking, but I quickly had the opportunity to learn. I had to learn, and I learned a huge amount in a very, very, very short space of time. I mean, you're still learning each and every single day, but
100%.
that baptism of fire of suddenly having to understand the bakery business, dealing with retail customers and the big retailers that are out there, negotiating prices, etc., and then obviously doing the buying side. I learned how to fix flow wrap machines and do barcode labels and lots of different interesting
Because the GM
things.
does everything.
Yeah, I guess that's very, very true. Maybe master of little, but manager of many things. So yeah,
100%.
it's a great opportunity.
And how does it feel now to be at the biggest OEM in the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey from an automotive perspective. Actually, I first joined a dealer group down in South Africa when I left the US.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, I was in the US for a couple of years and then went down to South Africa, worked for a dealer group, predominantly a Toyota dealer group, and then obviously joined Alpha Tame Toyota Lexus here in the UAE.
Oh, lovely. If you had the chance to go on a road trip with one of our Toyotas or Lexuses, which model would you pick?
I do love the Prado that we're in today,
Yeah.
and also, I drove a Land Cruiser for quite a few years until now. So yeah, I mean, I love the Land Cruiser, I love the Prado. Very similar in terms of SUV and off-roading ability and capability.
Isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just like the high driving position, the seating position. What I like about the new Prado is the visibility all around. I mean, it's
That's
the
so
one car that you can sit in and kind of see all around you what's going on. Obviously important when you go off-road
100%.
in terms of seeing the obstacles, but also, driving around Dubai with all the traffic. It is a great car to be in, sitting above the traffic and obviously, getting a view of what's going on around you.
That's so true. But this, I don't know if you've seen the TikTok, but when you see a Prado in your rear view, you have to give it the way. Do you know about it?
I haven't seen it, no, but I understand.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much like a Land Cruiser or Prado. People tend to get out of the way because maybe there's intent in your driving style.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. Are you somebody who's on TikTok or Instagram a lot?
Not really. My kids have tried to get me to engage a little bit more than I have, but yeah, I mean, I tend to laugh at the funny stuff that's on there. But yeah.
So what are road trips like? What is your road trip?
I enjoy driving. I like going somewhere. I like the whole experience of the road trip itself. The scenic beauty of it. I've had the opportunity to drive in many countries in the world and obviously in some great routes and lots of different cars. So
Which one's your favorite though?
road or
Yeah, the routes, the road.
yeah, I mean, I must. There's a couple of the one that's really nice, and a lot of people talk about it. Particularly if you're from a US perspective, is PCH or Pacific Coast Highway, which obviously runs kind of LA, San Francisco. Well, that is a really nice part of the road.
Yep.
Obviously, in the US, you need to be careful of the speeding. That's always a bit of a challenge.
In
But
Dubai-
overall,
in
in
Dubai,
Dubai as well with the
Abu Dhabi
cameras.
as well, yeah.
But overall, it's a very scenic road. Obviously, a great.
This is not the Route 66.
No, not Route 66. So
This is the different
PCH, which runs along the west coast, basically.
I've heard. Yeah.
So, I mean, you drive down, the area that's really pretty and worth going to see is Carmel and Monterey. Those particular areas, is one of the nice roads. There are many other, and then the all-time favorite. I know it's not necessarily a dedicated road, but if ever you have the opportunity to go to the Nürburgring and do a couple of hot laps on that.
Of course.
I mean, you can't take that away from anyone. That's a great experience. So I've had the chance to do that twice, and
Oh, really?
I've loved every single minute of it. I mean, obviously you see like buses and cars and all sorts of and motorbikes on there, weird and wonderful things. But the opportunity to go around a racetrack, and particularly a racetrack of that length, is truly a great experience.
I mean, you pedal down, right? You're like
Yeah. I mean, you're going as fast as your mind will allow you to go. But yeah, it is a great opportunity. And as I said, it's such a long track. To learn the track is not that easy, and just to understand what's coming up next, and then you have to watch everyone around you because it's it's kind of free format. So you need to be very, very careful. Yeah, and the German autobahns are always nice in terms of if you want to drive very fast.
Yeah, that's on the bucket list. But you let us know which your go-to places are and which Toyota or Lexus would you all take. And who knows, what if we crack something up with these folks and somewhere some raffle lets you win something. I'm kidding, folks. Let us know your road trip memories and bucket list moments. Tell me this, you've had such a rich, diverse career. If there is 3 key learnings that you would like to tell everybody from a leadership perspective, what would those be?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the opportunity to work throughout the world. I'm originally South African, but I've worked in globally for many years. I worked in China for quite a few years. I worked in the US for a few years, and worked in the Middle East for quite a few years. So had the opportunity to work everywhere else. I think the one thing is take the time to learn. It's quite easy when you move into a new position, new organization, new company to kind of think, put your stamp on it, but those guys have been there for a while. So it's important to, kind of get their feedback, understanding, what they've done and how they've got to that particular, whatever situation or.
That's so trtrue.
And, learn from them as opposed to kind of go in there and think you know everything. You need to kind of be recognize that they've been there a while, and you need to understand that they have a lot of learnings that you don't need to make the same mistakes. So look for those learnings. Obviously, I try to be, I regard myself as a bit of a servant leader. I would never ask anyone to do something I was not prepared to do myself. And it's important, I feel, to not only tell people what to do, but also to show them what to do. Obviously, there's limits to that because you can't do everything. But there's too often you get people that are, either really good at putting things down on PowerPoint or coming up with strategies, but many people are challenged, obviously, operationally execute things. So it's as important to come up with ideas. It's probably even more important to be able to know how to execute them. So a lot of what we do is about kind of your attitude and your approach to things. So you'd rather have someone that's 150% committed than someone that's a genius but it's only 50% committed. So
you'd hire the enthusiastic human being?
I mean, you have to. Our business is about passion and kind of dealing with customers, and you have to have that passion. You have to have that drive, that motivation. And sometimes it gets really tough, and you need to obviously not only self motivate yourself, but you need to be able to motivate your team. And you need to kind of feed off that energy, because that's where you get the motivation from. So
I agree. That's so important, right? But tell me this, as somebody who leads large teams, what differences do you see when you're sitting out of the HQ, and what differences do you see on the shop floor?
Yeah, I mean, quite often, when you're sitting in the head office, you could be a little bit removed from the situation on the coalface. So it's important when you get out there. Well, it's important to get out there and hear directly from your team on the ground, and also to hear directly from customers. Quite often when you're sitting in a head office environment, you can be a little bit isolated from kind of the reality, the day-to-day reality, and the challenges. And some of those challenges you can actually do something about. You can do something about it relatively easy. In modern corporates, there's in quite often cases of a huge amount of bureaucracy. And in a leadership position, you got the chance to remove some of the bureaucracy and make it easier for the guys. So true. I mean, just in general, I like as much as possible to support the operational guys in terms of being able to do their jobs better. But the issue is make sure you've got each other's backs. And protect your team and support your team. Obviously, don't make the same mistake twice. But I mean, you only learn by making mistakes. So you're never ever going to learn another way. You probably, that's probably the most or the biggest lesson that you get.
So tell me this: the various markets. Do you see any key differences or key similarities in just us as human beings when it comes to the automobiles that we choose?
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, I've been fortunate to have experience across many markets. But I mean, they're all different and unique in different ways. But at the end of the day, you kind of need to understand what motivates those particular the customers in that in that particular market. Generally speaking, when it comes to automobiles, what's successful in one market is the chance of it being successful in another market is pretty high. There are differences when it comes to that, but by and large, what is a hit in one place can be a hit in another place. So you don't have to make everything bespoke, for every single market. I spent a large portion of my career actually in, product development, product creation side of it, and obviously working on, future products and understanding, the changing dynamics and behavior of customers and where they're going to. Because the thing about product creation is you're working on something that's going to come to market, 5, 6, 7 years from when you work
much ahead.
Thinking much ahead. So trying to understand the trends and paths that they're on is important. But essentially, it's endured the test of time. So I mean, I think it's, some shapes or designs obviously do that. They are obviously able to not only carry various countries, but also obviously carry across time, which isn't the easiest thing to do. So
Yeah.
a lot of times a really quirky design, goes out of, it's like fashion, really
So
quirky
true.
design can go out of fashion very, very quickly.
And the sustainable sustains.
Yeah, and the sustainable sustains. Now, a lot of it's about the brand, the product, and what it means and stands for, and obviously just the reassurance. I mean, the big thing about our business is trust. So there needs to be trust in the product, there needs to be trust in the experience, and obviously the easiest way of getting trust is familiarity. So obviously, familiarity with the product and believing in the product in terms of what it delivers helps to deliver trust.
I mean, we are after all on Sheikh Zayed, and I'm not sure if you've seen that TikTok where there is an earlier road of Dubai, and all it has is the Toyota showroom.
Yeah.
And then there is all of the skyscrapers that have come about now, but the Toyota showroom is still there.
Yeah, actually, when we took that turn to get onto Sheikh Zayed
That's
Road,
what-
it's
yeah,
right
it
there.
was right
yeah,
there,
so,
it was
yeah.
right there, yes.
So that signboard on top of that building has been there for many, many years. We actually just introduced it, I think it was about 2 years ago. We went back on top of the building
Oh wow.
with the billboard. So yeah, Toyota's been synonymous with the Middle East for many, many years. Alpha Tame has been involved in the market with Toyota for since the mid 50s. So
Wow,
yeah, it's
that's
kind of synonymous with UAE and
goosebumps.
Dubai.
That's crazy legacy.
Yeah, that's a
Boss,
long time.
How do you live with that? Isn't that a lot of pressure?
Yeah, it is a lot of pressure. The good thing is, the base is so well established, but like anything, you need to obviously protect the legacy that's been built up, and there's a huge team of us working on that together with obviously the future products that are coming down the pipeline.
Yep.
But Toyota does, to a certain degree, help facilitate that. I mean, their products are really good. They're known for durability, quality, reliability. So
Yeah.
we just need to make sure from a customer service experience, we provide the same thing back to our customers when they reach our dealerships.
Tell me this, what kind of meters have you seen? Because I've seen one which had 1 million kilometers mile on it, and it was still running like it was fresh.
Yeah, I've seen a couple at 1 million. We've managed to celebrate a few customers that have hit that significant milestone, and it's not contrary to popular belief, it's not just the Camry taxi, which is also very synonymous with the UAE, but it's also some private cars. We had a FJ Cruiser the other day with a customer that had over 800,000 kilometers on it. So, and you think a vehicle like that in the UAE, how many times it's been off road and what it's been used for.
Yep.
So it's really a testament to the great product it is, and not many people that can say they can get 1 million kilometers out of a vehicle.
That's so true.
I think if you're gonna pick one vehicle to do 1 million kilometers on, it should be a Toyota. That's for sure.
Lexus, I find a very tricky space to be in the country, because that also runs as a cab, and it's a premium segment car, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything in life. But yeah, I mean, the one good thing about, the limousine business in particular, and what we've done with ES Hybrid, is that, many customers have been exposed to the Lexus brand through that particular product. And obviously some of them have gone on to buy Lexuses. Again, very similar to Toyota, and the same, obviously, product is hold true for Lexus.
Yep.
And it is, from a luxury car perspective, probably one of the most reliable cars you can get out there. I mean, any customer sat survey or any quality survey that you see, particularly in some of the global markets, you always see Lexus kind of at the top of the list from a premium perspective. So yeah, I mean, it is an interesting question in terms of what does it mean for a brand, and many people in the marketing side of the business will say, is it create a challenge or is it create an opportunity?
Yeah.
But yeah, from our side, it's been really positive for us. Obviously, we're still known for not only that, but also all the other SUVs.
Yeah.
And the Lexus SUV lineup at the moment is probably the strongest it's been in a long
so
time.
beautiful
So, the UX Hybrid, the NX Hybrid, RX, the new RX is a
I'm a
great,
RX guy.
stunning car. Looks really, really sporty, a nice SUV.
Yeah.
And then obviously, the Alex 600, very similar to the Land Cruiser in terms of what it offers from a capability and from a status perspective. And truly, performance-wise, also a really good car. So
I love it.
Look forward to launching obviously a new one of those in the new year.
Yeah.
When it comes to potentially an extension of that lineup with addition of hybrid on that vehicle. But more about that early in the new year.
This Prado that I'm driving, I don't know if you realize, but I put it on adaptive cruise control.
Yeah.
And that was pretty exciting for me because I'm not somebody who's used to the Prado having that, and it did a pretty fine job.
Their full suite of safety products, they call Toyota Safety Sense, and they've
Also,
been
the whole suite is called
the Toyota Safety Sense. So whether it be the blind spot warning system,
Yep.
adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, or lane tracing, those suites and obviously as they bolt onto them,
Yep.
will create an ever expanding portfolio. So you're talking about Toyota Safety Sense 1, 2, 3, 4. It's as the features have been increased every single year. They obviously bring more and more out.
I love it because it is important. The day and age that we live in today, the consumer wants all of this in their vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, and over time, it's going to help a lot from a traffic accident, traffic safety perspective. So, autonomous driving, this is kind of the evolution to that, and as we move along, it'll happen.
And Toyota was one of the first, in fact, the first with hybrids, right? So
yeah, I mean, one of the first, and arguably in the global perspective,
yeah,
they've delivered over 20 million hybrids, which is, if you think about it,
that's a
a
lot of
substantial number.
Yeah. You all are already approaching the recycling date and age of the batteries.
Yeah, that's happened a long time ago.
Yeah, that's happened. Yeah, of course, because it's very important that the life cycle is completed.
Yeah.
Jacques, tell me this. This is a very important one because when somebody talks about the Prado, they think about the 70-year legacy and everything else that it comes with. But today it comes with the Toyota Safety Sense, and that is very important for the consumer. So how has that evolution been like, and why is it important?
Yeah, I mean, Toyota Safety Sense obviously encompasses all the the technology that Toyota has fitted to their vehicles to provide a safer driving experience and arguably a more enjoyable driving experience. Because you don't have to be too concerned about kind of what's going. I mean, obviously you have to be aware of what's going on around you, but
100%.
at least it protects you in the situation. So as they've gone along, they've added particular features to that obviously suite of safety features. So we have blind spot. Obviously, we have adaptive cruise control, for instance. We have lane keeping assist or lane tracing or lane departure.
Yep.
And there's
Adaptive cruise control.
Adaptive cruise control, and that suite of offerings will continue to grow. And in time, we'll get speed sign recognition and quite a few other technologies that are obviously on the way to supporting a level of potentially a level of autonomous driving. Probably closer to circa L2 level. Again, that'll happen in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the notion of it. And every single one of those just makes it a safer experience for you and your family.
That's true. So true. I've just turned it on, by the way. So that.
Especially on Shake Side Road.
Yeah. Shake Side is just more calming because if you're going at this time and there's no traffic, then you're at least on adaptive cruise control and you're pretty sorted. Although 1 foot always on the brake pedal, folks, it's just safe like that, right?
Yep, for sure.
So this market, the UAE, what challenges do you see here? What are the opportunities that you see here? Can you give me some insights and data points on how which is the most sold car, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for us, we are the market leader, and we have been for a few years, and testament obviously to Alpha Tame, the brand and what it means. It's been, the market's been really good for us. As I said, we've been here since the mid 50s, and kind of, Land Cruiser as an example is synonymous with the Middle East. So, you don't often see, pictures of vehicles in the desert without spotting a Land Cruiser.
Yeah, that's so true.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of endemic to the Middle East, which is a good thing, and still a desirable product and means a lot from a customer perspective, especially around that quality reliability aspect. So people know they can drive the vehicle, can do a huge amount of mileage, they can obviously sell the vehicle and recoup a lot of their initial costs. I wouldn't call it investment because vehicles don't necessarily fall into that particular asset category, but But yeah, I mean, I think in some cases, it has been, but in general, I think it's a great product. And I think the other good thing is, we got a really strong network throughout the UAE. No matter which emirate you go to, we have sales and service facilities, and that makes it reassuring from a customer perspective. They can take their Toyota, and they know they'll be looked after wherever they are. So, it is a great great product. It's a great story, and obviously well represented by Alpha Tame.
What is this thing that people love about the FJ Cruiser? Because I see that has a different cult following of sorts, right?
Yeah, I mean it's very similar to other particular vehicles in that category where people kind of personalize or customize it to their own needs and requirements, and you see some really great executions of what that means out there.
Various colors also.
Yeah, various colors. Most of them are particularly nowadays, most of them are raised to create even greater capability.
That's true.
And fully kitted out with different wheels and various accessories, in order to make, in a lot of cases, the off-roading experience even more enjoyable and more challenging, and go out and conquer new places. And that's one particular vehicle that you can do it in.
Yeah. What is your view on EVs and the electrification that's happening across the country?
Yeah, I mean, Toyota has, kind of spent a lot of time developing, obviously, hybrid technology, which is the route to ultimately to EVs. As a brand, they've sold over 20 million hybrids, and have launched EV products, and we will continue to look at EV products for the UAE market. Toyota has stated that when the time is right and the product is obviously right, they'll bring the product to the market. Now, it's important, because you have a brand like ours that's known for durability, reliability, that when you bring a product like that to the UAE, that that it can meet the requirements of the UAE. So the extremes of the conditions here from a climatic perspective can be challenging for certain vehicles, especially for EVs. And it's important that you engineer them correctly to deliver the optimal customer experience. Whether that be cooling the vehicle, kind of the range that needs to be delivered from a customer acceptance perspective. But there's no doubt about it that the future is obviously, I think, and we all recognize that is definitely in kind of alternate non-ICE powertrains.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But what is holding people back from switching, do you think? And should hybrid be a middle bridge to their EV journey?
I mean, first, to answer the first question, I think there's always been a couple of barriers to entry when it comes to EVs. Initially they were probably more on the expensive side. There were a lot of concerns around range, and then just infrastructure. You need the charging infrastructure to be able to address issues like range.
That's true.
But importantly, obviously, in time and as more and more products have come to market, the pricing is obviously improved as well. So EV as a product offering perspective, obviously now delivers at very similar price points to ICE, comparable products. So I don't that a lot of those barriers are being removed. We could still do with more infrastructure
100%.
when it comes to charging, and particularly in a very built up environment where people live in apartments and not necessarily in villas. Charging is going to be a challenge for a little bit longer, but more and more public charging obviously will become available. So yeah, I mean, I think in no time, and as I've always said this, and firmly believe that we'll probably see more change in the automotive industry in the next, by the end of the decade, than we've seen in the scene in the last 30 or 40, maybe since the invention of the car.
Really?
120 years. So I definitely think more will change, either from a connectivity, from a propulsion perspective, mobility perspective, from an ownership perspective. Many things will change in these next 6 or 7 years. I have already changed, but this decade will probably is an exciting time to be in the industry. But the one thing that we know for sure is that we're never going to see as much change as we're going to see in this decade.
That's so cool. That's so nice to hear. What do you have to say about Gen Z and how they're buying cars?
I spent quite a bit of time in the US market, and there it was. There was always a challenge with where and obviously in the US a lot of the boomers are where the customer cohort is, the majority of the customer cohort is. So there was a lot of concern about ownership and do people still want to own cars, etc. But yeah, I mean, I think the short answer is yes, they're still buying cars.
Of course.
There was obviously a bit of an affordability crisis at various times as the economy had a few challenges or ups and downs. That generated a few issues, and not everyone could afford a vehicle. But yeah, I mean, there's certain aspects that they look for. Contrary to popular belief, they're also a firm believer in quality. So,
Yeah.
you know, they don't, not just about tech and advancement and, you know, it's a brand that I can identify with, but they also recognize that, you know, they're going to work really hard for this money, so they need to make a wise choice with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it is different. You need to appeal to them in a different way. You know, you need to use the right content. And, you know, most importantly, they need to be able to identify with the brand. So,
That's so true.
if the brand, you know, doesn't stand in the same place that they stand in terms of, you know, what it rates as its priorities, then, you know, that would always be a challenge. So,
I agree.
luckily, you know, Toyota kind of, you know, has a certain amount of passion to it, particularly from, you know, vehicles like GR
Yeah.
and what they deliver with GR86 and Supra, for instance. You get the performance aspect.
Oh, I love the Supra.
Yeah, it's
The
a great.
sound of a Supra can be recognized from a mile away.
Yeah, so there's, you know, there's certain certain aspects or certain products in our portfolio that appeal to customers, like, you know, that have those interests at heart.
100%. Any leasing options and you know, finance solutions that you're coming up with? Because I think the generation also looks forward to a lot of you know, unique ways to buy into a product.
Yeah, as I said, you know, we had obviously the affordability issues, and you
Yeah.
know, there was the big debate that occurred about, is it ownership or usage, and you know, the usage aspect of it, not necessarily owning a car, as we mentioned earlier about, you know, the notion of an asset or a depreciating class asset. So yeah, many people prefer to lease cars nowadays, and
Yeah.
you know, that is an easy way to, you know, kind of protect yourselves against an unknown, you know, aspect of your vehicle
Yeah.
ownership, which is, you know, how much is my car worth at the end of the day. So when you lease a vehicle, you have none of those concerns. Obviously, the nice thing about it is, you know, you're paying off a much smaller amount of money. You're not
That's
paying
true.
for the whole car. You're paying for, you know, whatever, 30-40% of the car.
Correct.
And therefore, in a lot of cases, you can actually afford to drive, you know, potentially a larger car or vehicle with more features.
Tell me this. Let's dive into a little of your personal life. We are on Mashable Mornings, so we have to talk about your morning routine. Is there a specific one? How has it changed over the years?
Yeah, I like to try and, I mean, I spoke about the traffic earlier. You know, I like to try and get to work before the traffic is, you know, built up substantially. So, and I also find, you know, that time, the kind of that quiet time ahead of the day getting started and getting crazy.
Yeah.
You know, to at least get ahead of a few things. It's important to obviously take a bit of time for yourself, because, you know, a lot of us spend a lot of time in meetings.
Yep.
So, you know, trying to plan your day, what's going to happen, you know, answer those emails that you didn't answer the day before. Just as a rule, I tend to try not
So
to
you
do
wake
that.
up at about 5-6 a.m.?
Yeah, I mean, I generally, 5:30, 6 o'clock I'm up, and I'm, you know, most times I'm at work between 7 and 7:30. That's what I
sweet.
do, yeah.
And then you're looking into emails as soon as you're in, or going
I,
around the
you
floor?
know, nowadays with, you know, kind of the phone, I don't think you're ever disconnected from email.
That's so true.
But yeah, I mean, I made the comment earlier. You know, I generally try and do my emails as they arrive. I mean, obviously, if you're in a meeting, it's quite disrespectful to do your emails.
Yeah.
But I do my best to, you know, to stay on top of my emails. I think it's important, as I said earlier, you know, being able to make a decision, being able to, you know, give feedback to people when they ask for it. You know, in our day and age, things move very quickly.
That's so true.
Opportunities come and go, and the ability to react quickly is important. And obviously, I made the comment around bureaucracy, removing bureaucracy. Obviously, the time that things take is, you know, one aspect of bureaucracy.
So you want your plate to be cleared as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that I'm very brief in my emails or
Yeah.
my communication, because I don't write, you know, I stick to the facts.
Wow.
So I don't, you know, don't
That can
use
seem
too many.
curt at times, no?
I don't use too many words. I tend to be very factual. So, you know, I'll answer the question that's asked, and, you know, obviously not too scared to make a decision, which is important.
I think that the brevity bit I'm going to use in my life, because I don't mind it sounding curt sometimes, but I think if it gets the point across, then I'm good.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's, you know, some people think it could be rude.
Exactly.
But, you know, in some cases we have a lot to do. So, I mean, there's obviously, you need to be courteous.
Yes.
And it's important to engage with people. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with answering a question directly.
That's so true. I agree with you. What do you love about Dubai, and how does it feel to be calling it home?
Yeah, I like, you know, to me I'd say it's a real cosmopolitan city. It's like, you know, you could be anywhere in the world. So from a city aspect, and I think it's such a diverse environment, from a demographic perspective. It's you wouldn't, you'll struggle to find this anywhere else.
That's so true.
And I've worked in very homogenous, markets.
Yeah.
But kind of the diversity of what you find in the UAE is truly amazing.
Which cars do you see selling the most here?
Oh, sorry.
Both the portfolios. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Land Cruiser is one of our more popular vehicles, obviously, and Hilux is the other one. But yeah, we sell a substantial amount of Land Cruisers in the market. Number one or two was Land Cruiser, and then Hilux, and then things like Camry. Obviously, with a lot of the taxi business supports the volume, but still very, very popular from a retail perspective as well. And then there's the other SUVs. Prado, for instance, is also very, very popular. Originally, and when we launched Prado, we didn't have a lot of stock, so they built up quite a waiting list.
Yes.
But that supply has now started to come through,
Yeah.
and you're starting to see more and more Prados out on the road. So that's also encouraging. So we're looking to get. Also, Prado should be in kind of the top 3 or 4 in terms of the car lines. But definitely, as I said, Land Cruiser number 1, and Hilux obviously from a commercial application. IS is the other one that you'll see a lot of in the UAE as well.
I mean, you look around and you'll see that's a Lexus going around. That's a Toyota.
2 Land Cruisers.
Yeah, two Land Cruisers right side. Yeah, and black, and it's a classy one. It's got a whole feel to it.
Yeah, and a Veloz, which is also a relatively new car. We launched it last year as well, so
and
also doing really well. 7-seater.
Very family car, right?
Yeah, very family car, 7-seater, very affordable, and obviously backed by the full Toyota promise.
Perfect. Hobbies. What are your hobbies and what are your personal interests like?
Yeah, that's a good question. I tell people I play golf, but I haven't played golf since I got back to the UAE.
What are you saying? That's how many years now?
No, I mean, I've only been back 2 years, but yes, I do enjoy golf, but it takes a lot of time, and I just haven't had as many opportunities to do it. From an exercise perspective, I try and go out on the odd jog, and because I think it's important to. It obviously gives me quiet time and time to relax, but
That's so true.
it also gives you the opportunity to work on yourself, from a physical perspective. At the moment, we're also playing a little cricket tournament with Alpha Tame. So it's been a few years since I played cricket, but it's a good opportunity to obviously get out there with the team.
Yeah.
Obviously, spend time not only from a work perspective, but also socializing with the team.
That's so true. And folks from South Africa are very good at cricket, I've seen.
Yeah, my first name is not necessarily indicative of my cricket ability.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's. We have some great players, and we haven't won a World Cup yet. We came close, but I mean, overall it is a good team, and obviously you have a lot of our players play in the IPL, and do pretty well. But yeah, I mean, it's known for rugby and for cricket as a country.
Are we getting a new ES next year? Because I've been hearing, and this is purely the automotive journalist inside me going completely berserk about wanting a new ES.
There is a new ES, but it may not be next year.
Oh, yeah. But what are your strategies like when it comes to launches? Because this region has ways to adapt to launches also.
Yeah, I mean the motor vehicle launches over time have changed dramatically. I've been in the industry, as I said, quite a few years now, and I've seen that evolution. We used to have massive launch events, and and we used to call them stop the town moments, where everyone knew what the product was, what it when it was coming, etc.
Yeah.
But nowadays, obviously products are launched with a different cadence throughout the world. So not only are you launching the product, in a lot of cases you're also launching the technology that's inside that product, and in most cases kind of can be either first to market or first to that particular product line. So you're kind of telling two stories. You're telling the tech story and the telling product story. Yeah,
I agree. What do you think the youth is looking for when it comes to the tech in their cars? Because this is a Mashable podcast.
Yeah,
we
mean,
can't not talk about tech.
I've always said, and I was extensively involved in that side of the business in my prior role as well. Is that as much as we talk about EV and electrification, the biggest change is actually coming on connectivity.
Yeah.
And you look at all the content and the features that have become available within vehicles and what it actually means and how you bring that to life within the particular vehicle. So, we like to think about technology as being seamless. So it mustn't feel like when you transition from your house to your car that you have to kind of start all over again. Whatever you were doing at home, when you climb in your car, it should be a seamless transition. So whatever was on your phone, kind of needs to appear on your screen within your vehicle. And your ability to pre-populate something, whether it be the temperature settings in your car or the route you're going on, or understanding how much fuel you have in your vehicle. All of those things should be available to you. And then there's a whole lot of content and features. I mean, we're kind of becoming kind of a cultural society of apps, and making sure that those apps are obviously replicated, replicated within the vehicle. So that whole aspect is obviously more and more important. And obviously some of them are more use than others, and some of them are pure entertainment. But if you're able to create an application that obviously has beneficial use from a customer perspective, particularly in EVs when it comes to charging and route planning, etc., then that's obviously a huge opportunity.
I know what you mean, because I look for everything now, and I'm sure a lot of the Gen Z and millennials watching this are also on the same boat, because we want our cars to be well equipped. I mean, when it comes to innovation, how are you telling your teams to be thinking forward?
Yeah, I mean, I did mention the point a little bit earlier. The most important thing is, innovation always has challenges and always has risks. So as I say to the team, it's important that you feel that you have got my support in order for you to go out there and do things differently and challenge the status quo. Because, it's not going to be easy. You kind of, particularly in our business that's been around for so long, people are used to doing it a certain way. So suddenly when you try and do something differently, many people question or query in terms of, what's the benefit of that? And, I always comment on the thing we used to call NIH, and not invented yet syndrome.
Yes. So
it's important that, you have the back of your team members, you provide the support to them. And obviously the guidance, and everyone's going to make mistakes, as I said, and it's important to learn from those particular mistakes.
What's next? What's happening? Where are you all expanding to, and what are the markets that you think need focus?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, the UAE market's been through a lot this year. We had the floods back in April, which was really challenging for everyone, and just kind of worked through all of that. The market's still really, really strong and robust. Obviously, there was an opportunity to do better. The work that we need to do is to make sure that we obviously get all the vehicles that our customers need, and importantly, provide the customer experience that our customers need. So, there are exciting things happening, and there always are in our business when it comes to products, and as we said, technology. So, next year we'll, not to talk too much about that, but there will be an opportunity next year with new products and obviously tech.
We'll come back and we'll do another chat with you.
Yeah, no problem. Look forward to showing you some great products and great features that we've brought to market.
Is this one of the largest showrooms that there is?
Yeah, so we've got Dubai Festival City, this particular showroom. Last month, this particular showroom delivered 800 vehicles, believe it or not. A crazy number. So
how come?
No, between all the, we have different channels of business that we have. But this, we had 800 deliveries out of this particular facility between new, used, and small fleet. So
cool.
Really great job, by the team. Just in general, we sell, probably call it circa 7,000 Toyotas a month, and 600-700 Lexuses a month. But put it into perspective, we see 1,000 service customers on Toyota a day.
Whoa.
And we see approximately 200 service customers a day on Lexus. So
crazy.
If you think about, it's difficult to comprehend, but the sheer volume of what we deal with is really, really impressive in terms of how many people we have to look after, and obviously the experience we need to provide.
Been a beautiful journey. Anything that you'd like to add before we wrap up?
No, obviously just from my side, thanks for the opportunity. It's been great spending the morning with you.
That's amazing.
Really, really engaging. It was good to talk not just about business.
Yes, of course.
But also a little bit of leadership lessons and opportunities, you want to say at that. I've been thankful and appreciative of all the opportunities I've had, and it's not often that you go through life, coming across those those particular opportunities. But
Yeah.
not that I've been at the right place at the right time, you know. But it does ultimately make a difference. You know, someone gives you an opportunity, take it. You need to capitalize on it. And obviously, from my side, thanks for the time and opportunity
Thank
to
you
talk
for
to
being
you.
on Mashable Morning, Jacques.
Yeah.
I think I've reached a level where I can call you Ja now. Is that how your friends refer to you as?
No, just Jack.
Just Jack. Just Jack. Jack is cool for me. But do call me in for one of those cricket games or one of your lectures, and I'll be happy to attend.
No problem. Thanks very much. Appreciate the time
Thank you
together.
so much. Let us
Yeah.
know your stories with Toyota or Lexus. Any question that you may have for them. This is me, Siddharth Alambayan, signing on Mashable Mornings.